Assalamu alaikum. We are live once again for another episode of Behind the Final Call cover story. A very important and beautiful day today. It is May 11th, 2021. I had to think about it for a second. The cover of the paper this week is The Truth About Farrakhan. The date on the paper is May 18th, 2021. This is volume number 40, number 32. And once again, we have Brother Naba, the editor of the paper. And once again, as we always ask, why this cover story, Brother Naba?
Well, first of all, assalamu alaikum, as we close out on Ramadan. I guess it's still appropriate to say Ramadan Mubarak.
Most definitely, Ramadan Kareem.
This was an important cover, and the article was written by Student Minister Demetric Muhammad, because we wanted to, in a sense, present, point out aspects, represent, remind people, and inform those who may not know, because we should always be concerned about those who may not know the truth about this man, Louis Farrakhan, his mission and his work. And so we wanted to talk about something of him. This also happens to be his 80th birth anniversary. So this man has about 65 years of service to our community, continued service. Just a few weeks ago, he spoke beautifully at the funeral of Brother DMX, Earl Simmons in Brooklyn. His words were touching, uplifting, and really soothed the hearts of our people and provided guidance for us. He continues to guide the Nation of Islam in our work of resurrection and redemption. He continues to give us guidance as publisher of the Final Call newspaper and as the man who I'm blessed to report to. So we wanted to write, and Brother Demetric wrote something about the standard, the criterion, the standard of love and leadership. And he pointed out aspects of what Minister Farrakhan has done and who he is. And so we felt that that kind of truth was necessary. We felt that when a man, and we have not, when you have a special man who reaches an age of 88, and he continues to stand strong, he continues to be uncompromising, he continues to feed others, and to give others the ability to lead and the ability to learn and the ability to continue on in this struggle of freedom, justice, and equality. This is a man we must take note of. This is a man worthy of respect, worthy of regard, worthy of appreciation. And when we do that, we cannot allow those who want to destroy him and us being Black people in this country, even with the global system of white supremacy. We cannot allow those who want to destroy him and us to continue to lie without us hurling truth against their falsehoods, without hurling truth against their lies, and bearing witness to the man that we know and defining for ourselves who he is and truthfully saying who he is. So it's not a matter of you got your truth and I got mine. No, we have the truth. And we speak the truth when it comes to this man. So this article, in some ways, wanted to do some of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And of course, as you mentioned, this is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's 88th birth anniversary. All praises are due to Allah. And inshallah, at the end, we'll talk a little bit about a special event, a launch that will occur, inshallah, later on today. But this is going to be a little abbreviated show, so we want to make sure we keep it rolling and keep it moving. So that's cover story you can find on page 2. The next piece we want to go to is actually found on page 3. Black women and children last. America's genocidal policing targets our most vulnerable, precious lives. And I think that in your summary of the paper, you said this is really a part 2 of an article that ran last week. Can you give us a little bit about that?
Right. This is a subsequent follow-up. Last week, we did the paper, We Charge Genocide, which was based on a report and conclusions from international jurists and commissioners who examined American policing and examined it in the context of human rights. Well, when you look at human rights and when you look at international law, there are certain conventions, treaties, statutes, etc., that are supposed to specifically protect women and children. So not only are our rights generally being violated, human rights, by policing in America in a genocidal way, but also these vulnerable groups, children and women, as a subset of our community, their rights are specifically being violated. And so in this story, we lay out how that happens. We report some of the cases of those who this international group of commissioners looked at, and point out what happened in those cases and how they're not isolated cases, but they're actually part of a pattern in practice. So go to finalcall.com and make sure that you read that article and share and like and subscribe.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And of course, that theme of just really looking, and I don't know if this is the intention, but I mean, of course, I know it even either inadvertently or intentionally, you know what I'm trying to say, is that the goal, and I think one of the goals that is served by this, even if it's not a specific one that you set, is that it continues to really support the case that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad presents to us, which is separation is the best and only solution. Is that all these things that we continue to see, if you don't know by now, that the separation is definitely the best and only solution. So we have that Black woman that's on page 3, and moving to the next article, which you can find on page 12. 1 year old among 29 children injured in Israeli aggression. Can you tell us about that? Why that international story was important or is important?
This was part of our, and now the situation has even exploded even more. Today being May 11th, Tuesday. This is the situation in Israel, the oppression of the Palestinians, the overwhelming domination of the Israelis, the lack of human rights. Actually, we ran a piece, I believe, last week, which pointed out human rights violations by Israel against the Palestinians. That situation continues to unfold. It's growing more and more volatile, and we will be reporting on that, inshallah, next week. But watch news, watch a variety of news, and see just how the Palestinians and how Israel is conducting herself, and then watch how the U.S. and American media justifies what Israel does.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And one of the things that I think that you don't typically hear someone say is that we encourage, the Final Call encourages you and wants you and desires for you to look and listen to other media resources and sources, because what it does, the Final Call provides a lens in which allows you to see things that are going on from a different perspective, and in many instances allows you to see things better. So we appreciate that. Moving to the next article, which is found on the following page. It says 13 Black candidate challenges political status quo in Spain. I found that very interesting. Can you give us the importance of that international story?
Well, as we see our brothers and sisters from Africa continuing to immigrate into Europe, trying to find a decent, or trying to create a decent life for themselves. They're also now impacting the population, and they're even impacting politics. So this story is about this brother who was a migrant who actually won a seat in the region of Madrid. But it's an interesting story to read, and it shows too that no matter where we are, we still suffer from racism, we still suffer from white supremacy, and we still suffer from being targeted.
Yes, sir. And these are very, you know, to see the plight of the Black man and woman across not only the country and world is something that you're always going to get in the Final Call newspaper. So praise you to Allah. Thank you for that. Going to the next article, next page, which is Africa, the Internet and Youth Organizing.
Yeah, and this is an Africa Watch column written by Demetric Muhammad, and you can kind of get into it and explore and hear him explore the rise of the internet, what it has meant to organizing in efforts in Africa, what it has meant for, in particular, young people on the continent seeking greater freedoms and seeking a better response from their governments, which is also true of really so many different groups around the world as people are able to connect. So as we see these different things happening, we like to point them out, and we like to give you the opportunity to examine these things and learn a little about them so that we can try to do our best to keep you informed on a variety of levels.
Praise you to Allah. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And thank those who have joined us. And please make sure you're liking and sharing. We have By the Time. We have Sophie X. Clark. We have By the Time again, wishing us peace and blessings during this Ramadan season. Praise you to Allah. Thank you. We appreciate those kind greetings. Want to move on quickly to the next piece that we have, which is on page, we're skipping from page 14. That doesn't mean you should skip page 15, but make sure that you're checking out Egypt court upholds seizure of ship attack that blocked Suez Canal. Thousands of refugee deaths linked to EU's, the European Union's illegal expulsion. That report is there, but of course, your editorial, Brother Naba. Don't let federal charges fool you. Justice remains far off.
Well, Derek Chauvin and 3 other officers. Derek Chauvin already convicted of murdering George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and there are 3 other officers who face charges at the state level. All 4 of these men have now been charged with federal rights violations. We see that as an important development, but we really want you to check out our editorial, which deals with the fact that charges are not justice. This is just the first step. We should not be overjoyed by it. We should be watching. We should be listening. We should be tuned in, and we should stay on the demand for justice, which is somebody being punished for the taking of a life and taking of a life wrongly. And they should be punished to the full extent of the law. But even such punishment will never bring back the one whose life was taken. So at least, at minimum, you can convict and punish those who violate law. And so those are some of the things we talk about. But in particular, we don't want to ever mistake, just because you got Mr. Biden in the White House, just because you got a different person at the Justice Department as Attorney General, just because you got these charges, it does not equal justice. Justice equals justice, and justice is what we want. And that's where we have to keep the eyes on the prize. This isn't horseshoes. Let's get as close as we can. No, there are penalties for the violation of life at the federal level. There needs to be a vigorous investigation. These men have been charged, and in my view, they should be charged, tried, and we think there's enough evidence in there that warrants their conviction. The evidence warrants their conviction.
Yes, sir. Praise you to Allah. And that's the thing with that, is when you are individuals that are supposed to be the individuals that are responsible for upholding the law, the penalty has to be higher, or at least definitely, well, yeah, it should just be higher, because you are given a responsibility for justice, to execute justice in the lives of others. So definitely an important case. And even if justice is that, even as we look at this story and we see many of the others, is not a one-off. You know, we don't just desire justice in this particular instance, but there's a justice that is owed to us for over 400 plus years in counting, which that's why the importance of what the calls that you made in terms of reparations and genocide, all of those are definitely important and part of this story. So moving on to the next piece, which is another piece by you, The Crucifixion of Lakeith Stanfield, which can be found on page 17 of the Final Call newspaper. Why this article?
Well, this deals with one of the hot topics right now. Actor Lakeith Stanfield, he really won a lot of acclaim from the popular movie that that portrayed life, aspects of the life, betrayal, and death of the late Black Panther leader, Fred Hampton. So, to make a long story short, this brother was in a chat room, and they were talking about Minister Farrakhan, talking about the Nation of Islam, talking about Black-Jewish relations, and there were Blacks in the room, Jews in the room, and there was this vigorous discussion. Well, one Jewish woman in particular didn't like the fact that Lakeith Stanfield was in the room and basically said nothing, just listening. She said to him, basically, you have X amount of followers, Jewish Twitter is coming.
That I'm sorry that I guess I faded out. I thought I was speaking, and I guess I was speaking to myself.
if you have truth, then speak the truth. And so I really hope everybody will read my column, Straight Words, The Crucifixion of Lakeith Stanfield, and please spread it, because we must combat these people. And many of us may have been disappointed that our brother apologized. But I would humbly say he's really not the problem. The enemy is the problem. And we must always point out that enemy. We want our people to be stronger. And the stronger we are collectively, the stronger they can be individually. But we have to point out the enemy and how the enemy constantly does this. And it's time for it to end. And, no more making examples of Black people. You are not our slave masters. And you need to understand that today.
Once again, another defense on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's position, which is separation is the best and only solution. So moving on, of course, to a very important article that you're not going to get in probably any other news media source, especially on a regular basis. And of course, that's the article by the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad contained in this paper. Can you tell us why the article America was chosen for this edition of the?
Well, this is a short but powerful article. And I'm going to say, read it for yourself. Read about how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad describes America. Read about the scriptural references related to America. Look at realities that we are facing in America. And then you decide whether this message is truthful and whether it leads us to the point of where we must make a decision about what we would do for ourselves. Powerful article, short article. Don't bypass it. Make sure you read it, okay?
Praise to
And
Allah.
I hear what By the Time is saying in terms of Brother Lakeith. If we keep apologizing, it keeps us weak and scared, and that's right. And that's why those of us who have strength, must speak strongly. And one of the problems about that chat room was there were so many Black folks speaking strongly. And this woman didn't like it and then targeted our brother.
Yes, praise to Allah. And of course, this article from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad contained in this edition of the paper is from the monumental book, The Fall of America. Read the article in the Final Call paper, but if you don't have the book, Fall of America, get it right now. I mean, you won't believe in many instances that you're reading something that was written over 40 years ago. With that said, we, of course, following right after that, we have the article from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that is Justice or Else. What good is life if we are not free?
I mean, this is really a powerful article. We are reprinting it. This is taken from the minister's address on the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, the Justice or Us rally in Washington, D.C. Please read it for yourself. But there's a portion where the minister, he basically asked a question, and you can read his words for yourself. Basically, what good is life if we have to suffer, watch our people suffer, and live under tyranny? At some point, we have to say enough is enough, and this must end. And I think that that sentiment is growing more and more among our people as we see women, as I said, and children subjected to human rights abuses, where we see Black men, women, and children shot down in the streets of this country by police. Nothing happens. Where we see ourselves being dominated as Jewish groups and others try to keep us from being able to speak and be self-determined, to define our own agenda and to define our own leaders. And as we find ourselves constantly under attack. So life is freedom. And the minister asked a beautiful question: what good is life if we are not free? So we hope that you will check out the article, read it, study it. We think there's a lot there to examine.
Praise to Allah. Thank you for our brother who wishes us a blessed Ramadan Kareem to you. He says, Elijah Muhammad promised us success. Stay strong, follow divine instruction. Allah is indeed the greatest. Praise to Allah. Thank you. Thank you for all the others. Sister Rachel sending us the greetings, and we must return the greetings of Alaikum Salam and Ramadan Kareem. We have, I'm not sure if it's a brother or sister, can't see the picture. Walaikum Salam, sister. And blessings to you all. Thank you. Brother Nabo. Got a few minutes left. Of course, we went quickly through this, but we definitely encourage you to make sure that you visit finalcall.com, that you get a digital description at finalcalldigital.com. And when you see the brothers out in the street, that you don't just drive past them, that you don't just turn your head, that you don't just greet them words of peace and say, y'all doing a good job, but support the paper, support the mission. Any other words?
Well, of course, the paper and the mission that is being supported is a paper and a mission that is for us, that is for you, that is for the upliftment of Black people, that is for us making progress, and that is for us having literally a full and complete freedom, justice, and equality. This is a kind of abbreviated show today. Interesting, and it's nice that people showed up on late notice. We appreciate that. But after this is over, brother Troy, they will be able to look at the video and see the full 30 minutes, correct?
Yes, sir. By Law's permission, yes, sir. It's available right there on the Final Call's Facebook page, as well as the Collective Nines YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
we definitely encourage you to make sure you check it out, save it, and we're looking at your comments and your feedback. So please share those on this particular episode, as well as whatever other feedback you may have.
Yeah, and so even though this is short and we're wrapping up, but go back and view the the full little discussion today, which is short but I think powerful. Give us some comments, like, follow, and please stay tuned. We thank everybody for tuning in today. We certainly are happy that we can say the minister marks 88 years among us, and that's a beautiful thing. And we just will continue by Allah's grace to work to help him, to help you, to help all of us. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Praise due to Allah. And I have to end on showing the flyer and encouraging you all a special gift that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, inshallah, will have released today. And that is right here. Give me a moment if I can pull it up. There we go. And that is, got a few things up here. Let's move that one out the way. Sorry about that. And I got banners that keep on just popping up. There we go. Is today the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be releasing his performance of the Beethoven Violin Concerto. And that is at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Check it out at ministermusic.com. Ministermusic.com. Right now, you can go there and it'll redirect you to his music YouTube channel. Check it out, and inshallah, there'll be a special presentation made available at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you all for your support. Once again, another episode of Behind the Final Call cover story. Thank you. Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah continue to bless us all. Until next time, Behind the Final Call cover story.